today, hello guys, today we're back with another video. This is gonna be what if Naruto was raised by Madara Uchiha Part 1. Now, let's get to it. Before we can get anything done, we have to display history to find out what happened, what was going on. The Nine Tails attack. The real Madara appeared as he seemed to be in his prime. A bloodied Kushina lie on the ground with her boy within her hands. She looked up at whoever this was, with all of the blood clouding her eyes and a hole within her stomach and blood pouring out of her mouth as well. She looked up and said, "Please, Hiruzen, take care of my boy. His name is Naruto Uchiha," Madara said, as he then pulled out his blade and beheaded Kushina. Kushina's blood splattered everywhere as then Madara said, "You're going to be perfect." As he then cut his wrist. No, and then he took out a syringe and got blood from his body and injected his blood within Naruto. As then he picked up Naruto. As then he said, "Farewell. He will be important for my plans." As then, now, if anyone is wondering, how could Madara be in his prime? We then see we have basically a flashback, whatever you call it. We see a wilting old Madara Uchiha as Obito and Orochimaru stood within the room. "Are you sure I can experiment on your body in whatever I want?" "Yes, if you can get me walking again." "Wait. I want to test something out. I will make a clone. If I make a clone of your body, you can take control over it. It doesn't matter to me. I just really want to experiment with your cells." "You bastard." Madara tried to speak. Obito already could tell with Madara what Madara was trying to say. Madara's weak and frail body was so it made it hard for Madara to speak. He said yes. As then Madara would then have a batch, as then Orochimaru would experiment on Madara's body as he finally came to a conclusion. He had had found out a way to create a Madara clone that Madara could actively control. As then, Orochimaru taught Madara how to create a curse mark. If Madara potentially gained this curse mark, if Madara created the curse mark, he would be naturally 1,000. His curse mark will be 1,000,000,000 times stronger than Orochimaru's curse mark, just because of the fact that Madara is stronger. Now, and then, and then they have a seed. As he injects the seed made out, carved from the wood of Hashirama Senju's last. One of Hashirama Senju's last wood pillars that he had made, injecting the seed with Hashirama and Madara's DNA. They quickly were able to fuse. Then through the seed, it grew larger and larger until it was human sized. As then Madara gave it a curse mark, as he then took control over the body. Since his body was naturally strong, it will only take him around 1 year of training to get to around with his prime, what the power of his prime would be. Anyway, the flashback finished. Madara felt more powerful than he had ever felt before because that was 5 years ago. He had trained with his new body, and it felt incredible. He could, since his body naturally, he could naturally create wood release. Now he was going to be able to become immortal by making producing thousands of these clones and just basically taking control over them. Then, now, to the present, Madara stood over Kushina's dead body, once injecting Naruto with Hashirama and his DNA instead of, you know, with, you know, it having a Hashirama face, because of the fact that Naruto is Uzumaki, relative of the Senju, and he is the reincarnation of Ashura. I see no reason why his body would turn into something like, why his body would turn white like Danzo Shimura or Mamoru Uchiha's body and do weird stuff. I see the thing, since Madara and Hashirama Senju's DNA fused together, it just went all together and made perfect compound. Since Naruto was in early stages of birth and his DNA was not a lot, At that moment, it was around enough for, since it is known, the reason why Hashirama Senju's people who are injected with Hashirama Senju's blood skin is pale because of Hashirama Senju's cells are highly hostile, and depending on who you are or what you are, like it depends on how strong your body is, on what level is your body capable of withstanding the Hashirama cells that are very hostile and can quickly destroy other cells. It depends on your endurance and durability. Mm. And then Obito Kamweed too, in front of Madara. As then Obito Kamweed Madara and Naruto to their hideout. As they trained Naruto for 8 years, he started his training at 1 years old because of the fact that Naruto was simply, literally, the only little boy that from the Naruto series. We noticed that Naruto matured 1,000 times faster than most kids would, since Obito and Madara hammered knowledge because he was very stern about getting knowledge into Naruto's head. Naruto had to quickly grow up or his body wouldn't be able to withstand this constant torture and it would fail on him. But it was okay. A 9-year-old Naruto, he a 9-year-old Naruto. For the next 3 years, Naruto was going on missions for the Akatsuki and for Madara. And Madara had basically revealed himself back to the world, seeing that he had seeing as that he was 1,000 times more powerful than he was in the original. Naruto had gained a name for himself at that point. Naruto was called the Ash Bringer because of the fact that Naruto specialized with fire jutsu. He created a fireball jutsu. He created a fire jutsu that was his fire affinity was so powerful that it even surpassed Madara's affinity for fire. So even him just charging up a fireball jutsu was enough heat to set things aflame. And and once he decided to release his fireball, it turned anything into nothingness. Or that's what it would seem like. The heat from just this fire jutsu alone turned things into ashes. So he was known as the Ashbringer. In the bingo books, he was a A ranked. He was a S rank shinobi since he literally appeared wiped out. Once he appeared, he was already doing things that only S rank Shinobi should be capable of, like fighting off strong opponents such as Kage. He fought against the Raikage, and he fought off against Yagura as he, with all of his heat, he melted through the exterior that Hagura that he formed even with his even with his um three tails Isabu thing. Yeah. Anyway, we see Naruto staring down upon the hidden leaf village. Oh, all of you. Don't worry. Your happy days will end soon. Once grandfather makes his grand appearance, the leaf will be wiped out. As even though Maro is seemingly young, Naruto calls him grandfather. Anyway, then we see Naruto activate his Mangekyo Sharingan, which would look like this. Let me see. Once activating his Mangekyo Sharingan, the village would the village would stop. Everything would stop. Because of his advanced perception, time seemed to stop for him, while to others seemed like regular time. Nothing happened. And then he unleashes his Mangekyo's ability. Raisetsu. Raisetsu is the ability to release a gas like substance that once any amount of chocolate is pumped into it, just turns everything into nothingness. That's the ability that it holds. That is Mangekyo Sharingan holds. It doesn't hold. It has two abilities though. That's basically what it looks like. Just that in the middle of his eye. And then his second ability activated. This ability is calmly, but on a much larger scale. And calmly, compared to this, is nothing. He linked his body to two different dimensions. His dimension and the other dimension. where anything within the reality that he was in could not come in contact with him, but he could come in contact with it. So, literally, the flaw with Kamui is solved. And he can also um star things. Like you could send a fireball jutsu or any jutsu towards him, and he could just suck it into his eye, and literally a year later, no matter what time, the same volume, the same amount of chakra could be released.